All right, welcome to the U Sports Women's Volleyball Championship Consolation Semi-Final Post-Game Press Conference featuring the McMaster Marauders after their 3-0 win over the Brock Badgers. We're going to hear from head coach Nate Janzen and follow up with questions for student athletes and coach. Coach, let's start with your opening statement.
Yeah, I just want to say how proud I am of our student athletes. Playing in the consolation game is one of the hardest things you have to do. Like, you guys were all here yesterday, and how we reacted to that loss. It was just a really heartbreaking experience for us, and to have to get up the next morning to prepare for another team, a team that we've played a whole bunch of times before, and try and get the courage and grit and determination it takes to win at this level. Took a lot for our team. Took a lot for our coaching staff, and I'm just really proud of how we responded, how we played, how hard we competed in that match.
It looked like you guys were having a lot of fun out there today. I know that was probably a little bit tough after last night's loss, so talk a little bit about what the energy was like today. Let's start with Olivia.
We discussed that this game has a big effect on our team culture, and this game means a lot to us, not only because it's Brock, but because we had to change our goals really quickly, like within a day, and we just played our hearts out.
We'll open it up.
Yeah, Coach, it seems like you had fun as well. I saw you like punching the air positively many times today. Can you tell me, like, how did you feel during that game?
Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, and then sometimes, like, I'm just so inspired by how we're playing. So there's a balance there for me of trying to keep my head on straight and seeing the game the way that it needs to be seen, so we can make adjustments and do the right thing at the right time. And I just love when we play good volleyball. There's something about that is inspiring to our crowd, inspiring to us as coaches. And so yeah, I was just really I was into the game, trying to be as tactical as I can while still like loving the experience. And to be honest, you just never know how many times you're going to get to play in this tournament, how many times I'm going to get to coach in this tournament. You just don't know. It's really hard to get here. So I said to myself before the match, I'm going to enjoy every minute of this, because you just never know if I'm going to get back. So it was a pretty special experience for me too.
Chayse, you came into that game in replacement of the first setter, and you did a stellar performance. You can see that proof in your Player of the Game award. Tell us about the level of concentration that you have and poise to get in as cold as can be and deliver such a good performance.
Yeah, I think it's just all about the communication. Like, in my position, I have to talk to every single person on the court. And yeah, I think it's just keeping the communication high and bringing in that energy from the bench, because sometimes it's not on the court. So coming in with a positive attitude and big smile and cheering as loud as I could. Like, after the game, I lost my voice, so like that proves to show that how loud I was being on the court and being there for my teammates. But yeah.
Chayse, I'm going to follow that one up quickly, because we've talked a lot about the depth in your offense and your ability to feed such a variety of attackers. So what would you say, or how much so did that play into your ability and your overall team success to be able to feed Olivia, Sully, like whoever it may be, to know that you can rely on so many players?
Mm-hmm. It's really fun, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I've played volleyball games where we've had like one player who's just like really good, and we usually feed them, and then when the other team figures that out, it's kind of hard to, but with the depth of our team, it's really cool, because I've never had a team that has this much depth. And yeah, it's just like really good options, especially coming from the setter. It's really fun to set up,
Yeah. One other thing, your family is the most passionate group of supporters I have ever had the pleasure of being in the presence of. How does that affect your game and the rest of the team? Because since I've been here, I know we're in the same year, but they have been at nearly every single game. And it's gotten to the point where I know them, they know me, and like they have really built such a community and been like a really, really solid support group for your team. So what do you think that's not only done for you, but your team as a whole?
Well, my parents have been my #1 supporters since my birth, honestly. And yeah, I just always have looked up to them. They're my role models. They're some of my best friends. I don't have any siblings, so I always just grew up with them, so we're really close. And to see them cheering on all of my best friends on the team as much as they are for me, as if they're my sisters.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to see that and see them every game.
You mentioned role models, and you know the advantage of having such great depth and on this team is there's for you some of the younger players, you know, maybe not senior players. There's other players you can look up to. First year player, you know, Cole Pitts, a senior setter, 4 years at Queen's, so much success, and then a bevy of great players. I think of Sully Sindera just because she's one of the best players I've ever laid eyes on. Like, she's incredible what she can do. So, you know, how important has having those role models, by your side in the locker room being to your individual growth? I'd like to hear from both the players.
For me, I've always looked up to Sully, and not just Sully, Emma McKinnon, because Nate asked me at the beginning of the year, like, who are some people you look up to on the team, and immediately those two came to mind. And it's such a privilege to play alongside them and not just like cheering them on or like trying to become like them, but it's like navigating my own path as a player while also being so inspired by them.
Yeah, I think our seniors on the team have just provided so much like joy and competitiveness this year, and also like the graduating players who I've played with my past 3 years being here at MAC. They've just honestly made my experience here so good. Getting a little. But yeah, they just are my best friends, and it's fun to play for them as they go off into the world.
And the two liberos on your team, like, I'm just impressed every time I watch them as well. Stratford and Brooks, like, so vocal out there as well, you know, allowing the hitters, you know, they're kind of reading the game and allowing you, telling you where to go, whether it's like hands or line or whatever it is. You know, that really stood out to me. Two future coaches I could definitely see. I know Stratford is working way towards that. But maybe talk a little bit about the two liberos on your team. Nate, no service aces for Brock tonight. What does that kind of tell you about your liberos?
Oh man, that's a cool stat. They're both amazing leaders. They're amazing communicators. They see the game really well, and I really respect what they've done to try and work together to bring information from the bench to the court, from the court back to the bench. It's become a really neat information flow for our team, and the passion that they bring obviously is real. Like, they love watching hitters succeed. They love watching our setter like really let it rip. So it's been really neat to work with them. I think it's not easy to be in that position where you're constantly coming on and off the floor. It's not always the ideal situation, and they've really made the most of it and maximized what they bring to our team.
Michael from 49 Sports. This question, I guess, is for all three of you, and maybe feel free to chime in as well. I think that, like, Olivia, you mentioned earlier about the reaction in terms of importance to team culture-wise. I'm wondering in terms of even in that time since the last game, in terms of when you guys kind of talked about that, and even the reaction was like, how do you describe kind of like what for each of you kind of sank in the most for you, and what that feeling was like in terms of that reaction culture-wise?
Yeah, so in terms of culture-wise, like, we knew that this could potentially be our last game. So for me personally, like, I knew I had to play for every other person on the court. Like, I had to play for my seniors. I wanted to play for all these amazing girls who supported me this entire season, because it could have potentially have been our last game, and like, we just wanted to play for each other.
Yeah, I agree with Olivia. I thought of everyone on our team on and off the bench, and I just wanted to play for them, play for little girls watching and that sort of thing, to just leave it all out in the court. Yeah.
I think about like the culture of our team and what we were trying to do this year, and how difficult it is to win at this tournament from the first time you're here. Right? This is the first time this program's been here since 2017, I think. So none of our players, other than a couple of our transfers, have played in this tournament before, and how difficult it is to be successful here. And I spent a lot of time with the men's program 10 years ago. I've talked to the girls about this quite a bit. and how the experiences I got from that program, I joined them when they were already really, really good. In 2010 and 2011 and 2012, all the way through, like they were close to winning medals at nationals, and how hard they worked to get there. But before that, and I was texting with Dave Preston yesterday and today, and just how that program from 2005 to 2010 came to this tournament multiple times on the men's side and struggled and lost in the quarters and couldn't get to the next step. And all those experiences through that time, even to players that were graduating, were contributing to that program's success that it had when it finally started breaking through and became really, really good. And so I think about the culture of this team in the same way. Like we're close. We're not there yet, but we're trying to build something that can be special. And that might be when Chayse graduates, it might be next year, who knows, but we're trying to build something long term here, and it's not easy. It takes time, and you have to have perceived failures like yesterday to really get to that next level. And if we don't handle that the right way, then we don't get there. But if we do what we did today, then that's a cool, amazing learning experience for them.
And in terms of that, just to follow up on that, Nate's Walter as well, you mentioned go with that learning experience. Here's like, even in this moment right now, so shortly after that, like for each of you, how much can you like really strive or see kind of like the value of that already, or feel the value of that already right now?
Do you want me to take that?
You guys, any three can take that.
I think you saw it today. Like our culture was bang on. We knew what we needed to get done today. And the second even when it got a little tight again, like you could see them band together, and they're looking in each other's eyes. They're playing for each other. There's no selfishness on the floor whatsoever or on the bench. It's our whole team like pushing for one goal. It's pretty special.
Time for two more.
Yeah, question for Olivia. Doesn't seem that those lights are shining too bright for you as a rookie player. I mean, for someone who would be a newcomer, just looking at your stat line, 12 out of 24 on the offense and then 10 digs. Usually those are veteran numbers. Can you tell us, like, this game for you, was it something just special or just usual business?
Well, Brock holds a very special place in my heart because there's a lot of players on that team that don't like me, and I don't really like them. And last time we played them, I struggled a lot, and so this game meant a lot to me, and I just didn't want to shy away from the big moment. Like, I wanted to redeem myself. I wanted to
Really,
yeah.
So fair.
It's gonna be fun for next year.
100%.
And I think that you can all chime in on what Sully had done today. I mean, 5 timeouts out of 6 coming from the opposing coach was to stop her on the serve line.
Mm-hmm.
She was just forced to be recon and couldn't be stopped. What happened with her on the serve line? At the very least, she was mesmerizing.
Sully she is such a great human, and I think coming off of a timeout, she really just gets into the zone, and she said this before, but has a very good goldfish memory, and just gets into the zone and knows what she has to do in that moment to then be successful in it.
Yeah, she's super competitive. Like, when you get her going, you can't stop her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just, there's some next firepower in her that you just can't stop.
You knew how upset she was yesterday. She was not happy, and it's not like it's sadness, it's drive. There's a competitor in her that shows in big moments like that, and she was not happy with how we played yesterday. She had great stat line yesterday too, and she wasn't happy with how that went. Right? She's pushing herself to be the best she can be. It's pretty cool to be around.
So Nate, tomorrow you get the chance for the program's best finish at a national tournament. You've got St. Mary's coming up. What do you know about that team, and what are the goals for tomorrow?
I know very little about that team. We did play them in preseason. It was in end of September, beginning of October. It was a long time ago. They beat us in 2. They, lots of power, lots of good ball control. I'm going to have to get on my computer and get to work and see what we can do. And we'll do a video session tomorrow and see if we can put it together. Obviously, the goal is we want to win that match. The goal is for us to win the match. But I I say this all the time, like sometimes our results aren't determined by, success isn't determined by our results. And we talk about that a lot. We talked about that beginning of the match today. That if we're gonna go out and lose today, that we're gonna do it at least giving everything we had. So we'll try and do the same thing tomorrow and hopefully get the best result that this program's ever had. But if not, then we'll be proud of what we do.
Thanks for doing this. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, you two. Good work.